What up, what up?
What's happening, man?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. And we want to welcome everybody in who's tuning in. And actually, I have more faith than Albert did because Albert didn't think anybody was watching, but I knew that we had a couple friends out there that would support our endeavor. And so I just want to say thank you to several of you that reached out to us and sent us a message and said you liked the broadcast last week or the podcast, or whatever you want to call this. I have no idea what it is, but I have more faith than you, bro.
I know. I mean, like I know you think like I don't think this like these like whatever. It's like YouTube or whatever, you know. But I'm like, hey, I actually made an upgrade. Look at that. I got
those wireless.
They are.
Well, maybe that's what's causing all the interference, man. All this technology. Well, normally this the way we want to do this podcast is I'm in Indy, Eastern time zone. Albert is all the way in Los Angeles in the Western time zone. And so it's two time zones, two brothers. We still are in two time zones, except it's hard to believe my brother's just 3 hours north up in Chicago, but our schedules just will make it so we can't see each other tonight and today, this weekend while he was here. But what's going on in Chicago, man? What have you been able to do?
Well, my buddy, Ben, you know Ben got married, and I came up for the wedding, and I was literally like, it was like a drive-by visit. Like I came in Friday, I actually got here Saturday morning, like 1 o'clock, and then like been going nonstop, you know, trying to see friends and stuff. And you know, he got married in Maryville, so we stayed 2 nights in Maryville, my girlfriend and I, and then now we're here in Chicago, just you know, waiting to take off tomorrow morning. So
how was the weather up there today? Was it a beautiful day? I know,
man.
When the sun's out and it's nice, man, it's like you can't beat it.
It's kind of funny because it's like the last couple times, you know, she's like a wicked mistress, man. Chicago, and you know exactly
toxic relationship.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is because like the last couple times that we've been here, the weather's been great, except for the last time we were here. It got super cold, and I'm like, oh, that's why I didn't want to move to New York and do editing there. I wanted to go somewhere where it was nice and warm, you know, like LA. But like the weather's been great. It hasn't been too humid. It's actually cooled down at night, which, you know, that's perfect in Chicago. It's hot during the day and it kind of cools at night, which is totally.
I always tell people about Chicago. I always say Chicago is like a toxic relationship, man. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. And so that's. That's like, but did you do anything? I mean, did you get to check in on some of the spots or what?
I did. I mean, like, I kind of just, well, we went to Flat Top Grill. Totally promo Flat Top Grill right now. If you want to send me coupons, I'm totally in for that. Pound Flat Top Grill. It's like one of my favorite spots in all of Chicago and stuff. So I got to do that. Like, not really get to see the city, but like, you know, I got to see some friends and stuff. But like I said, it's been like a drive-by visit. You know,
yeah. Well, this week here in Indy it's been pretty good, but I got introduced to something I haven't had a chance to talk to about this in private, so this kind of be like, you know, raw reaction. But no, man, this week Landon had a temper tantrum, and he was crying, and he woke up and he just said, "I want to see Woofy. I want to see Woofy. I want to see Woofy." And so I couldn't understand what he was saying, man. And so he wanted the phone. Make a long story short, he navigated to this not a cartoon, but this guy on YouTube, Blippi. Have you ever heard of Blippi?
No. I mean, the name alone makes me want to watch. You know?
No, I mean, I don't know how he chose the name, but he's got like several, 100 million views, man, and he's only like 28, but he's insane. He's like a millennial who's studied. It's really cool because he studied everything. He studied the name, like he chose a name where the kids learn how to pronounce things. He realized the kids learn how to use the the I think the back of their mouth before the front, or no, the front of their mouth before the back. And so he chose the name Blippy so they would get it. And but he was over the top, man. But Landon introduced me to him this week, and so I'm doing a promo for Blippy, a couple channels over.
Yeah.
But if you have a toddler out there, recommend him. The guy will entertain your kid for hours. But man, we had this other thing happen. That's like just here with the family, nothing other major thing happened with the family. But we had this thing happen down here in Indy, which was crazy, man. We had a guy went into a Get-Go down here. That's the name of a gas station, the Get-Go.
What would be the equivalent here in Chicago? Like
just
like a Speedway in Hammond, or like
a Shell gas station or BP, okay. But it's like Get-Go. You know, you go in there, whatever. And so the guy goes in there, and he's what's he doing? I don't know. He comes in. He's gonna rob the place. So he pulls out a gun. He's going to rob the place. And Indy's no joke, man. It's like the Wild Wild West. We had two guys in the gas station pull out a gun. They were just in there shopping, pull out a gun and shoot the guy right there
I mean, but like also too, like to give like a reference, those who don't know Indiana. So Indiana is, you could carry a handgun, and you can also, can you conceal? I don't know.
Yeah. Carry
and conceal, right? Yeah. So go ahead with your story. What happened?
No, so this guy was just, I mean, going in there. Two other guys just getting their chips or getting their gum or whatever, and just draw on the guy. And so I just imagined the crossfire there at the Get-Go, man. But I just thought that is indie, man. Just different. I mean, I thought I was escaping that stuff from Chicago, but I guess it's in every big city.
I'd probably hit a CVS after that and get some Tums from the diarrhea.
You're sitting in those?
Oh man, it's crazy. But then also too, like, you and I have had a lot of discussions about this. It's sort of like, why don't you hear about? I didn't hear about this. It didn't make national news. You know what I mean? How did you hear about it?
Well, honestly, it's a local. It's just a local affiliate tweeted that, and so it won't be on. It doesn't get much traction, because it doesn't fit that narrative of, it's just the I guess the whatever you want to call it, media, mainstream media, whatever. I think sometimes doesn't want to even give people an inkling that, hey, sometimes people that carry it's an advantage. I mean, it takes care of crime.
But did they kill him, or what did they do?
Him. They got him down.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the guy was driving a stolen vehicle. So,
well, I always say this. I know, like, you have to look at, to me personally, I'm only speaking for myself, right? You have to look at it from all aspects. The moment someone comes in there with a gun, they don't care for human life. And they were like, oh, I don't even know if he was a young kid, whatever. My thing is this: the moment you bring a gun into the situation, and you go into a situation where there's plenty of bystanders and humans involved, then you literally, in my opinion, once again, my opinion, you are giving your ticket up for your life. So if someone shoots you in the head or maims you, you become a quadriplegic or paralyzed, whatever, you deserve it. And maybe I'm old school thinking like that, or old West, but I'm sorry. I'm just like, it's too many, like, people are just like, they want to, I don't bat an eye and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, what if it would have been the opposite? What if the cashier would have resisted and he just started shooting in general? And that actually happened in Cali. It's like this guy went crazy, ended up in national news, hit a Trader Joe's, and the cops, because they were shooting at him, crossfire, ended up killing an employee. And that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, that guy is totally at fault. But then at the same time, it's like, it's a whole nother discussion. Like,
yeah, it's like, you want to make it the Wild Wild West or whatever. Anyway, yeah. But that happened. I thought, but I will say one thing that was really cool that I did like, and I don't want to portray India as a it's a great place. And
is that what the legal team is telling you right now? The disclaimer.
It's like, come on, man, enough bad. No, it's a great place. No, but one of the things that I really, really liked is we had another incident on the near west side of town at the Family Dollar. So that'll give you some. That'll kind of give you some context there, the Family Dollar. But no, there was a shooting and a couple people got killed. But they had a press conference this week, and one of the things I thought was really, really cool was the ones that actually did the press conference were the community leaders. Usually, when that stuff happens, like in Chicago, it's the police having a police conference talking about what's going on. But these are the community leaders, and they were telling about what they're going to do to fix the situation, and they were talking about how the police were just one component of the solution, but I really like that these guys stood up in this press conference and took ownership of it. Like, this is our community, and they took ownership. And and not to, I know this is a light show. We want to keep it light, but up in Chicago and sometimes in some of the bigger cities, is they use those times to start pointing fingers. They use it for,
to promote an agenda,
self-promotion. And somewhere along the line, they're gonna give a www dot, hey, go to www dot, you can find out more information and donate. But I like that, these guys were straight. So that's a little bit of indie. But I gotta fill you in on the news, man, because you sometimes you go under a rock and you have no idea what's going on.
The news is depressing. When you tell me like that, it's like, plus not only that, like being an editor, I'm behind LCD screen all day, man. It's like looking at the sun. The last thing I want to do is watch the news or what I'm saying.
Did you know Aretha Franklin died?
I did. I actually saw that. And the very first thing I thought about, I know she was a great singer. Very first thing that hit me was the Blues Brother and that whole dance scene where she's in the cafeteria there when they go to try to get that guy to play bass.
Oh, her husband. Yeah. Okay. Awkward transition, man. I'm awkward transition, but I don't know why, but I did want, last week when we were talking, we were kind of talking about our family. I don't know if we mentioned Juan, and I'm afraid he's going to see one of these shows and say, hey, what about me? We have a younger brother, Juan, who's 10 years younger than us, and eventually we'll get him on the show. But I wanted to show people this picture so they get an image of mom. And let's see if I can do this here in a second. I'm new at this. Let's see here. I pulled it up so people could see it. But
I don't know if you can share it though.
Can you see it?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's not coming up.
Oh no, you'll see it in a second. Folks, hang in there. I know this is a technical difficulty here, but okay. All right, can you see it now? Oh man, did I?
No, I don't know what you did, but it
messed up everything. Okay, all right, okay, we're gonna skip that. But I have the best picture of mom. We'll save that for a different show. But anyway, so you knew about Aretha Franklin?
I did know about her. It's just so many celebrities. Not celebrities, singers, and Bowie. We have a good friend named Steve Carroll. Like when Bowie died, he was a wreck,
Mm-hmm.
And and a lot of people loved Aretha, the Queen of Soul. So,
all right, one other piece of news, and then we'll move on. And I'll get out of the news because you're right, it is depressing, and so why stay on that? This is going to be a light show, very light. We're going to keep it light. But I didn't know if you heard about this one, man. This was pretty serious, and then we'll transition into something light. I promise you. But there was a family, and are you still? You can still see me and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. This is a family in Colorado. I don't know if you heard about that, but the lady went missing, and I think it was 2 children went missing. And obviously, when somebody first goes missing, everybody starts searching everything. But it's not too long after that I start to turn on
question the husband, the family,
every
forensic files and every show like that always starts out like how the concerning husband is searching for the wife.
Right. Right. And so anyway, well, now this guy is the prime suspect, But me and Karen have been talking a lot about this because it just really is interesting. It's sad. It's so sad, obviously, for the family. But one of the 2 things that stand out about this thing, okay, the first one is if you go through her Facebook page and his Facebook page all the way back, it looks like this charmed life, man. I'm in love with you. Look at how great our life is. man, we have this wonderful, wonderful life. And it just reminded me, like, you know, when people look on Facebook and they're looking at everybody's life and they're comparing each other's life, like, hey, take a chill pill, man. It may not be reality. You know what I mean?
Well, the thing about it is, like, you know, and you and I have talked about this all the time. Facebook is a fake reality. Nobody smiles and poses for the camera like that. That's fake. It's a moment that they want to portray. I'm having the greatest time of my life, you know, but they're going through financial difficulties. Like, they really don't want to be there because they're tired. But guess what? They're at the trendy club, you know, or like or you know what I mean? Or like they're eating and they're like, this is the best meal ever because like it's got 6,000 reviews on Yelp and like I wouldn't feed it to my dog. You know what I mean? But because everyone's like, so it's such a fake reality. So to look at that, you know what I mean? I look at that and I'm just like, Instagram, Facebook, it's all a fake reality. You know, people have skeletons in their closet. They don't smile 24/7 a
Well,
day.
here's the thing about it is, which was really, really weird is they had, you know, obviously all the, you know, this guy's my rock. I love him. I love her, blah, 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 blah. But they think now that the night that this guy killed her, that she actually had a heart-to-heart with him about divorce. They're getting divorced, and you know, so they think the guy snapped and all that. So it's the point I was trying to make is, like, it's just a reminder to all of us: take a chill pill, man. Like, don't get so bummed out when you're seeing somebody on their on their Facebook page. And then another thing, and because they were posting pictures of family trips and all this stuff, you know, they were saying in one article I read that they had incredible amount of debt, you know, and so a lot of times you don't get the full picture, man, when you're trolling or stalking Facebook pages, man.
Well, also too, like, you know this from like ministering, Danny, and from counseling, from being an administrator and a teacher. I mean, you know this, infidelity is not the number one reason why people break up. It's financial.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look it up. This is not me giving you a statistic. Well, maybe it's like the Mendez, the Mendez statistic. Yeah, you know, I'm telling you, man, I'm 100% sure, but don't quote me.
Don't quote
what I'm
me.
saying, yeah. So what I'm saying is about marriages, it's not infidelity. It's financial. It's financial. And so, like, the thing about it is, like, when you see these Facebook posts or whatever, hey, I got, like, for instance, I have a nice pair of headsets here, right? These are my girls, but I have the same pair, right? I can afford it. What I mean by afford it is, like, it's not on a credit card. It's paid for. But people live a life because they see the Joneses, like, oh, I need to live in a house, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I need this, I need that. At the end of the day, all that stress, you know, basically take its toll. And that's probably what happened, you know? And we don't know. We don't know the final story on that. But
yeah, okay, all right. Enough of the gory news. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on.
All right,
man. Here's a topic that I think everybody wants to know about: fat guy confessions. We're gonna get in a second.
We're gonna get to the meat of it, which is a good way to talk about keto.
And obviously, you know that, folks, if you're out there thinking we're going to be totally honest about our fat guy confessions, it's going to be a little bit later in the night before we get that honest. But
I've never been in front of a 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. with like a Reese's peanut butter cup and a big gulp and like licking my fingers. You know what I mean?
You've never been there?
Oh yeah. Sarcastically, I've never been there.
Yeah.
So
okay,
but go ahead, Dan.
You ever heard of the comic Jim Gaffigan on Food Man?
Yeah. No, I haven't heard of.
He's hilarious. He's absolutely. But I think so many people can resonate. Like he talks about like you know, if you were to tell somebody, hey, I gave my kid some cake for breakfast, they would look at you and say, you're a bad parent. He said, but you know, you flatten it out, take all the whipped cream on it, put syrup all over it, and call it a pancake, and that's okay. You know? Sure. But no, for the point he's making, he's just dude's obsessed with food. I mean, it's funny because I mean, we all are. Like, let's be real, we all are. I mean, go on Instagram and Facebook. We were just talking about that. Like 90% of it is them at restaurants taking food shots, not even enjoying the food, taking different angles and hashtagging it because they're like, they want to talk about the experience, you know. But sometimes it's really not that good, or sometimes it's just
amazing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, give me your fat guy moment, and I'll give you my fat guy
Oh,
moment.
well, in a minute. Because
Sure.
I'll give you two of them and I'll probably narc you out on one of them. I have one on you that's absolutely hilarious, and you're probably going to tell it. But
Sure.
best foods in South Chicago growing up.
Go ahead. You want to go or I go?
You go.
Okay. Best chicken in the world that people don't know about comes from the South Side. It's called Heine's Chicken. Heines. Like, people will talk about chicken, this is that. And it's not because it's nostalgic. It really is the best chicken in South Chicago. Heine's Chicken. And if you've ever been to one of those shops in Pilsen or on the north side where you pay 10 cents for the squirt, the red sauce, the hot sauce, that's Heine's hot sauce. And they sell it by the gallon. So that's my chicken. Next one, pizza. Pizza, if you're from Chicago, and then I go to LA, they're like, oh, you must like deep dish. I'm like, if you're from Chicago, you realize, or deep dish isn't what we eat. Deep dish is like birthday pizza, right? Like, you just saw the Sox game and you want to have a slice at Connie's. Most people have a local dive that they go to. That's if you name a pizza joint in Chicago, because you know Chicago so well, Danny. If I name a pizza joint, you know where they grew up.
Yeah,
right?
So ours was Capri. That was ours.
Capri. Oh, hands
Capri
down.
pizza.
Yeah. But then, like, also too, it's like it's summer and winter stuff too. Like in the summer, I have to get an Italian ice off Little Taylor. That's a done deal. And anyone from Chicago knows what I'm talking about. Not the transplants, the people that are from there. You say, hey, where would you go for Italian ice? Boom. Right there, Little Italy. That little hole in the wall. I don't even cross some Big Al's. I don't even know the name of it, Danny. You know what I'm talking about? Cross some Big Al's? Yeah.
That's a little on Taylor Street right there. I think it's near Wood or Damon, one of those.
But there's, I mean, like, that's once again, like your fat kid moment in foods. I can literally sit here all day and talk about, you name it. You know what I mean? Like Polish. You back in the day, you went to Jewtown, which it's called Jewtown, just a little Mexiville. Anyone that wants to judge me, they can exit left or unsubscribe right there. It's called Jewtown. It's not called UIC. Anyone from the South Side. It's not racist because the Jewish community, when they moved out there, they settled there. Right, Danny? That's where they settled. That's where they opened up the shops. That's what they called it.
All right, we've only done 2 episodes, and we've just, they managed to.
What's like Little Mexico, Danny? You know, they call Little Mexico. You know what I mean? Like, how can
I got you.
Hey,
bro.
They say Little Mexico.
Back you up. He's right. He's right on that. All right, he's right on that. But okay.
All right. You give me your foods
from South Chicago.
I mean, no, the foods that you would like, your fat kid moment, and I mean Chicago foods that you're like, oh man, I gotta have it.
Oh, the South Chicago ones were gyros, man. I mean, gyros, obviously Italian beef and all that, but in South Chicago, growing up, we used to go to King Castle, and they used to just everything there, man. They just was the best, man.
Which is basically, to get a reference, you could Google King Castle, South Chicago. It's basically a White Castle ripoff.
All right. Here we go, man. Fat guy confessions.
Go ahead.
I go first?
Sure.
All right. Okay, I'll give you 2 of them. All right. So obviously, if you're looking in the camera now, looking at me, you can tell I struggle a little bit with weight. And so
un poquito.
A little bit. And so after about 3 or 4 months of marriage, I was putting on a little bit of weight. And so I talked to Karen and I said, hey, we need to go on a diet, me more than her, obviously. And so we agreed, and we were going to go hardcore because, you know, us, it's like there's no second or third gear. It's either first or fifth. You know what I mean? So we're going hardcore, just not basically starving ourselves, you know, to try to get trim again. And so one day she's working on a Saturday, and I drop her off. And I hear that little voice, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, the voice calls to me often.
So I hear the little voice.
I'm hearing it right now.
No, so I hear the voice, and it says, "It's been a while." It's been a while.
Where have you been?
Was the China buffet. You know, I had.
Oh, yeah.
So I go in there, And I dropped Karen off at work on a Saturday afternoon. So I go in there and I pig out. I mean, and so I'm thinking to myself, oh, dude, you pulled it off. You know, she'll never know, which you should learn that early in marriage. No, they're going to find out. Just for all you youngsters out there considering relationship, they're going to find out. Okay. So I was doing some computer work and I was doing my bank statement. I didn't think anything of it. And so I closed the laptop and just went about my business. I was reading in the front room. Karen took the computer in the back bedroom. She had the door open, and all I can hear from the back bedroom was, I hear they got great salads at the China buffet. And my eyes got that big. I'm like, how did she know? Well, she had saw my bank statement, and right at the top of that, the first thing that drew her eyes was China buffet. And
right. So you're such a rookie. You're like such a rookie, man.
Next time, pay cash.
Yeah. You got to have a drop phone. You got to have an account, like a side bank account. It has like a couple hundred in it.
Okay, your fat guy moment.
So what do you mean by fat guy moment? Like where you're just like, or are you talking like
your fat guy confession? That is something that you were just like.
Oh yeah.
After you did it, you're like, I am a fat guy.
Yeah, I would be like, so. I mean, most of mine is like usually when I find receipts and I'm like, I ate a garage pizza last night, and then when I realized, like, you know, oh, actually, what it was is when I woke up and there was pizza in my bed, and I didn't remember having, I didn't remember how I got home. I didn't remember how there was an actual slice of pizza like next to my face. I was like literally like heroin addicts. you know that moment like where like heroin addicts, you wake up and there's, like, dirty needles all around. You're like, how did I get into the subway? I don't even know how I got here. So my moment was definitely like, first I was like, wow, how did I get home? Next was like, how did I stop for pizza? And then the next thing was like, why do I got a slice of pizza next to my face? Like, so that's probably like that, and just like, you know, and you know, when you have the fat kid moment, like when you start talking about food, you know what I mean?
Like doing right now.
Oh my, I could sit here all day and just talk about, like, for me would be like, right now, if I was to like really like, you know, like really think about like what's the best thing in the world. So the best thing in the world right now for me would be like having an apple fritter at Yum Yum Donuts, cutting it in half and throwing it in the microwave and letting it heat up, and then taking butter pecan ice cream from Rite Aid, because they're the only ones that sell ice cream at 3 a.m. Putting it in there. And just like naturally letting the apple fritter just melt on top of like the butter pecan ice cream and just eating that. It's like heaven, dude. So maybe I struggle just a little bit with weight.
I'll throw you under the bus. I'll throw you on the bus. And I'll throw myself on the bus one more time.
Yeah.
One time I went over your house when you were in college, and I go over the house. He knew I was going to tell
you get the yellow page story.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we were both hungry, and I said, hey, Al, how about we order some pizza? Yeah. Order some pizza. So I get the yellow pages, and
let me preface this story by saying, like, this is when I weighed like 420 or 430 pounds, which we'll get to like in a few. But I was like super heavy. But go ahead.
Right. So anyways, so then I'm looking through all the pizza, because you told me, why don't you order from such and such pizza? And so I see all of these pizza places with a line through them, and I couldn't figure out why would he cross these off? I mean, why would he cross them off? Do you want to tell the audience why you crossed them off?
Okay, so I know I mentioned a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes ago, how much I love pizza, you know, being from the South Side. So basically, I was going through the Yelp book. Yelp, this is way before the internet and Yelp, right? So I'm going through and I'm crossing all the pizza places I started. And you didn't even say this. I was putting little stars to the ones that I liked, like 1 or 2 stars. And I was crossing out the ones I would never order from again. And
so when I saw that, I died laughing. I said, you are a fat guy. And then my last final one, this is a mild one, but again, Karen was at work on a Saturday. This was before we had landed, and while the cat's away, the mice will play. And so Karen was not around. So I said, okay, all right. So I went on Twitter, and a list came out, and it was the top donuts in all of Chicago, the best donuts in all of Chicago, and it was like the 10 best. And some of them were, again, the hoity-toity, $5. I'm like, no. Give me something raw, man. So I looked on the list, and there was this place that said it was the best glazed donuts. I said, and it was right on the south side. And then I looked at the address, and it was at 113th South Michigan Avenue in Roseland and Pullman, which is like one of the worst neighborhoods in all of Chicago. Okay, horrible.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get that donut because it's one of the best in all the city. So I drive over there, and I get there, and sure enough, there's a line inside, and the place is just a trashy little place. It's a hole in the wall. So I'm in there. Next thing you know, one person comes in, two person. It's long, and these people are taking their time ordering. And so I'm in there. I'm the only person that's not of color. Not that there's anything, just a little context of the story. But I'm in there, definitely out of place, looking definitely out of place. And next thing you know, there's no way to keep track of who's in line, who isn't. And so somebody comes in, he kind of cuts the line, and a fight starts to break out, man. And next thing you know, these two guys are shouting at each other. And this was during a time frame, man, when there was like a shooting happening every other day in Chicago. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna make Karen a widow over a glazed donut. It's like I'm gonna die here, and this is not the way I want to go, man. So I'm getting scared to death. Finally, one of those dudes comes to his senses, and he looks at the other one. He goes, man, I go, somebody's gonna die over a glazed donut. I'm going, yeah. No. Nobody's gonna die today. He goes, man. So one of the guys gave in, but I was thinking to myself, man, that was the stupidest thing in the world to do for a donut.
Right.
But when you're a fat guy, that's what you do.
Well, that's like going back to off of Taylor Street, right? What is it? Maxwell Street. Like now it's super hip to go over there and get it. But back in the day,
you took your life in your hands.
No, back in the day, we would look at each other and we would walk together. You would watch me from the car because you were like, man, someone's going to jump me if I bring out cash. You would literally go like this, take out exact amount of what you needed because you do not. It's total Southside thing. You don't want to, like the gambler, you don't want to count your money at the table, And
you definitely don't want to be one of these guys. Guys, they don't take 50s around here. Anybody got change for 50?
Yeah. Do you take Bitcoin? You know what I mean? So, but yeah, but definitely. But all that to say, and people don't know this about you. In our family, we were heavy. I was thin when I was young, and so was my brother. And then he gained a lot of weight and then lost a lot of weight. And the same thing with me. I used to weigh, at one time, my highest, I weighed 480 pounds. So, that said, like, I don't weigh that anymore. I'm not even close to that. And it took me a long time to figure it out. And I briefly want to share what the keto diet is and how it's changed my life.
We probably won't have enough time tonight to go through it. I probably took a lot of time with that morbid news. I mean, I'm gonna rewatch that broadcast and just say I wasn't thinking on that. But yeah, we'll touch on that in just a second. But let me just a word of encouragement to the folks. If you're watching tonight, maybe you struggle a little bit. Hey, you know what? It's definitely a battle worth fighting. Me and Albert have an inside joke. It's funny. We are never slim at the same time.
Never.
It's like either I'll be a little bit heavy, he'll be slim, vice versa. But hey, we just decided a long time ago it's a battle worth fighting, and if we got to go to the grave fighting it, we will. But
honestly, like on the real, look, I know, like on the real, I kind of don't want you to brush over this because this is the one thing I definitely want to share with the audience. There's a reason why you're heavy and it has nothing to do with food. Zero. If you understand that, you will succeed. Okay? My weight and Danny's weight is because our childhood was very rough. Very rough. Read anything on psychology, on books, on anything when it comes to being overweight and depression. All that is in key, right? And we lived a very stressful life as kids, and we found comfort in food. And that's why we were heavy. But once it clicks for you and you realize, you know what? Food is not supposed to be glorious. And I know we had our fat kid moments, but food, and if you take this away with you, you will succeed. Food is there to sustain your life. You can eat the same thing like a dog and you will live a long, long time. And you shouldn't seek comfort in food. You're feeling bad? What do? You want to eat, right? You're feeling happy? What do you want to do? You want to eat. So understanding that the psychology of it, diet is 100% mindset. How you look at food, and you need to seek out a new relationship with food. You know what I mean? You don't need the keto diet. I love the keto diet and what it does. It will change your life if you decide to go that route. But you can be on the South Beach, you could be on Atkins. You can eat carbs if you want to eat carbs. But your relationship with food is going to dictate your life.
That's, it's hard. It's hard. Like you said, it's hard to see that. Originally, one of the first books that really, really helped me, and it's kind of a baseline. If I get out of whack, I can always resort to that. What I did it. I didn't learn that concept, what you just said, till a lot later.
Right.
But one of the books that really, really got me from the onset was a book called Fit for Life. And it's still kind of like I said, a baseline. And it talked about food combinations, not mixing carbs with proteins and eating nothing but fruit from
your digestive system, how your digestive system works, how eating fruit and vegetables at certain times helps trigger your waste and getting rid of all that. Yeah.
It was a great book. It really helped me. And again, I was a sophomore, junior in college, and then decided to really get into it and lost a lot of weight, kept it off for a long time. And then, like Albert was talking about, you get this bad relationship with food where you start using it to cope, using it to celebrate, using it to
you ready?
Anxious,
Here's a perfect example, right? And I talk to my girl about this all the time. Ready? So what? It's your anniversary. So what? It's your birthday. So what? It's your wedding. So
you
what?
Need to stop. Just stop right there, bro.
Yeah.
You're pushing it too far. Stop.
No, it's true. There's always going to be something. There's always going to think about 365 days a year. There's always going to be something. So here's the keys, in my opinion, to losing weight. The keys are restrictive eating, know when to eat, set a time frame, 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever. Restrictive eating and watching your calorie intake. It doesn't matter what diet you're on. You can't eat 3,000, 4,000 calories a day, expect to lose weight. And
right.
What I was saying is this is like, oh, what's somebody's wedding and somebody's this. It's like, I get it. And everyone says moderation. But Danny, you and I know this. You don't tell a heroin addict, oh, you could take this many cc's of heroin. You know what I mean? Like, and then once again, that's not everybody. That's with food addicts. And if you're overweight and if you're severely overweight, you have an addiction to food.
Yeah, but I just one thing real quick before, because if you can start just gathering your thoughts on that keto, we're just going to start it real quick. But what Albert was talking about earlier is so true. I want to encourage you, if you're out there, to read a lot, not just the diet aspect, but like Albert was saying, is just try to figure out what your mindset is, kind of what sometimes again it could be you struggle with anxiety or you struggle with depression, you struggle with these things. And that's really the root cause. And I would encourage you to read as much as you can and then find a plan that works for you. Like I told you, the Fit for Life is the baseline for me. I go back to that when I get off. I understand a lot of the concepts, but the keto, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is kind of a form of Atkins, where it's almost eliminating carbs. But I'll let you talk about it. Just start. We're not.
Sure.
We got about 3 minutes. We don't want to go too long tonight.
No. I will summarize the keto diet to anyone. I'm going to put people on the path to read up on it, because I'm not a scientist. I'm not an expert. I'm not a nutritionist. but I know what worked for me. And basically, the keto diet is a high fat diet. It's 70% fat, 25% protein, and 5% carbs. So, what does that mean? What it means is avocado, oils, nuts, stuff that is high in fat, fatty meats like pork, right? Fish is a great source of protein and fat. All this stuff helps. And what happens is when you're on a keto diet, Atkins is basically the keto diet. You're in one phase of Atkins for the first month, and then they slowly start introducing carbs. So basically, you're flipping a switch in your body and letting your pancreas and liver work together, right? And so when they work together, you will actually start burning your fat that's on your body as a fuel source. And it's called your body gets in ketosis, and that happens with 20 or less carbs a day. Some people can do it at 50. Their bodies are more tolerant. But to me, the baseline for that, and you can read up on it, is less than 20 carbs. Yes, it's hard. It's extremely hard, but read up on it. It helps with, there's been case studies done where it helps with cancer. Definitely helps with diabetes. It will reverse your diabetes if you actually stick to ketosis and being on the keto. Cancer, it helps with cancer because you're cutting out sugar and processed foods.
Any what's a good book on the keto that really kind of helped you?
Or? Well, to me, the two things that fall in line is there's a book by Gary Taubes. Actually, the two books you should read up on. Intermittent fasting is key. I mean, if you study, like during biblical times, they did this. So this is for, thousands of years. We as a society now are taught to like, oh, you need to eat for 8 hours or you need 3 meals a day. Our ancestors never did that. They ate once a day. So what intermittent fasting does is it teaches your body, it gets rid of all the sugar in your body that stays there. And the longer you can go intermittent fasting. So there's a book called The Obesity. The longer you can go, the better it is, but as far as health and inflammation. So the Obesity Code is a great book. It's called The Obesity Code. That'll help with intermittent fasting. And with keto, I'm actually going to look it up right now, Danny. There's a book by Gary Taubes. I think it's called Good Calories, Bad Calories. Author of The Case Against Sugar, Why We Get Fat. That's a great book. Why We Get Fat. If you Google it on Amazon. And the other one's Good Calories, Bad Calories. So, and here's the thing, and I want to end diet. I know like I didn't give you all the information, but I'm going to just tell you this. Everyone watching knows what to do. So you could pick whatever diet you want. It's calorie restriction. You can't eat anything you want. So how you want to get thin is up to you. To me, keto is the best way. Keto will reverse your diabetes unless you're a type 1 diabetic. So, and I'll talk a little bit more on the next show, Danny, because I know we ran out of, time and stuff. But at the same time, like if you read these books are basically the Bible when it comes to learning it.
Yeah, keep on that.
Keep on that. What are you doing? Mixing? No. Are you giving me this?
I'm giving you the wrap.
Yeah, but definitely, I'll just tell you this much. I've lost so much weight. And if you're a bodybuilder or someone that wants to get fit, like just read up on intermittent fasting and keto. Gary Taubes and The Obesity Code.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. We're going to wrap up the broadcast right there. Thanks for joining us. We're new at this. We're learning. And so your feedback helps. But we really like that a lot of you checked in, left some great comments. We're going to get better and better. Just be patient with us. And I think we might stick with this topic of the keto. Albert does a great job with it. But we'll obviously have some fun stuff next week. But thanks for tuning in tonight. And subscribe.
Hit subscribe.
Yeah, I think it's like on that corner. Subscribe. Tell somebody about it. And again, if you have something you want us to talk about or address, that sounds so like authoritative. But hey, as we go, I want to give a big shout out to my sister-in-law Kim down in Knoxville. She's fighting a great battle. I just want to tell her I love her and shout out to her. Shout out to a group of people down in Southern California. They're struggling, got some things going on, but we got you on our hearts and minds and praying for you. And just want to tell you thank you. And Albert?
It's good seeing you, bro. I'll see you next week.
See you guys. Have a great week. All right. Go get them tomorrow at work.